Your engine is dying right now while you drive, while you sit at a red light, while you sleep tonight with your car parked in the driveway, and you have absolutely no idea it's happening. No warning light, no strange sound, no smoke, nothing. Just slow, invisible destruction happening deep inside your engine. Until one day, without any warning at all, everything stops. And the bill that follows will make you sick to your stomach. We're talking $5,000, $8,000, sometimes more, sometimes the whole engine is gone and they tell you it's cheaper to buy a new car. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Almost every single one of those catastrophic engine failures could have been prevented with a 60-second check, using something that costs less than $2, something sitting in your kitchen or your garage right now. I know that sounds too simple. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what is quietly killing engines across America every single day, and you are going to know how to stop it permanently before it costs you everything. But first, I need you to understand something. Something the auto industry, the repair shops, the dealerships, something they have all quietly agreed to never explain to you clearly. Because the moment you understand this, you stop being their customer, and they cannot afford that. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your engine oil? Not just glanced at the dashboard, actually pulled the dipstick, looked at the color, felt the texture, smelled it? Most people haven't done that in months. Some people, honestly, have never done it. They just drive. They trust the little orange light to warn them when something is wrong. Here's the nightmare truth. By the time that oil warning light comes on, damage is already done. Sometimes catastrophic damage. The light doesn't warn you early, it warns you late. Like a fire alarm that goes off after the house has already been burning for 20 minutes. And here's what's happening inside your engine while you ignore this. Your engine has hundreds of metal parts moving against each other at thousands of rotations per minute. Pistons, crankshafts, camshafts, bearings, all of them spinning, sliding, grinding, constantly. The only thing standing between all that metal and total destruction is a thin film of oil. We're talking a layer thinner than a human hair. That's it. That's all that separates your engine from a $4,000 repair bill. When your oil gets old, it breaks down, it gets thick, it gets dirty. It loses its ability to coat those moving parts properly. And when that protective film fails, metal touches metal. At the molecular level, microscopic pieces of your engine start tearing away, little by little, every drive, every mile, every startup on a cold morning. You can't hear it, you can't feel it, but it's happening. And the dealership? They're fine with that, because when your engine finally fails, you're coming back to them, and they know exactly what they're going to charge you. Now stop. I want to pause right here for 1 second, because what I'm about to tell you next is something that most car owners have never heard. And it involves a second substance, something almost laughably cheap, that can actually tell you whether your engine oil has already started breaking down before any damage becomes serious. I'll get to that in just a moment. But first, the origin story. Because this knowledge didn't just appear, it was discovered. And then it was buried. It's 1921, Detroit, Michigan. A mechanical engineer named Harold Briggs is working in one of the first large-scale automobile assembly plants in the country. He's not famous. You won't find him in history books. But he understood engines at a level that most people today, even most mechanics, never reach. Briggs noticed something. The engines that failed early, the ones that seized, the ones that burned out before their time, almost always had one thing in common. The oil had turned dark, almost black, and it had thickened. And when he looked at it under a magnifying lens, he could see tiny metallic particles suspended in the oil, microscopic shavings of engine metal, signs that the oil had already failed and the damage had already begun. He wrote a detailed report. He presented it to plant management. He suggested a simple, low-cost method for workers and vehicle owners to check oil condition themselves before engine damage became serious. The report was filed and then quietly set aside, because the plant's business model depended on engine repairs, on replacement parts, on vehicles wearing out and needing service. Harold Briggs understood this. He told a colleague, and this is documented in correspondence from that era, he said, "They will never let the man on the street know how simple this is, because simple doesn't pay." Your grandmother already knew this. She used it every single day. Not on cars, but she understood quality by touch and sight and smell in ways we've completely lost. She could look at cooking oil and tell you immediately whether it had gone bad. She could feel a fabric and tell you its quality. She trusted her senses. We've been trained to trust warning lights and service intervals instead. Intervals, by the way, that are set by the same manufacturers who profit when your engine wears out faster. Think about that. They didn't hide this because it fails. They hid it because it works too well. This channel exists because this kind of knowledge deserves to survive. The fixes that are too cheap to monetize. The checks that are too simple to build a service industry around. The information that used to pass from father to son, mother to daughter. until corporations decided there was more money in keeping you in the dark. If you want to stop wasting money on industry lies, subscribe and hit the bell, because what's coming in the next few weeks will cover your entire home, your car, your appliances, the full picture of what they buried and why. Now, the science. Because I want you to actually understand this, not just follow steps blindly. When you understand the why, you own the knowledge forever. Engine oil is made of base oil molecules, long hydrocarbon chains, plus a package of additives. Detergents that clean, antioxidants that prevent breakdown, viscosity modifiers that keep the oil flowing at the right thickness across different temperatures, anti-wear additives that form a protective chemical layer directly on metal surfaces. Here's what happens over time and mileage: heat, pressure, oxygen exposure. These three things attack oil at the molecular level. The long hydrocarbon chains start to break apart. The additive package gets depleted, used up fighting the conditions inside the engine. The antioxidants get exhausted. The detergents get saturated with contaminants they've pulled off engine surfaces. What's left is a thick, dark, acidic liquid that isn't protecting anything anymore. In fact, old degraded oil becomes slightly acidic. An acid inside your engine means corrosion on metal surfaces. On top of the physical wear, on top of the thermal stress, your engine is being attacked from the inside by the very fluid that's supposed to protect it. In the 60-second check I'm going to show you using a white paper towel and nothing else will tell you exactly where your oil stands. Right now, today, before you drive another mile. If you've made it this far, you already know more than 99% of car owners in America. Most people out there are driving right now, completely blind, trusting a system that makes more money when their engine fails than when it survives. You're not going to be one of those people anymore. Here's the exact method, step by step. Do this today. Do it before your next drive. Park your car on a level surface. This matters. If the car is on a slope, your oil reading will be off, level ground only, and the engine needs to be warm, not hot, not cold. If you've been driving, let the car sit for 5 to 10 minutes after shutting it off. This lets the oil drain back down into the pan so you get an accurate reading. Now open the hood, find the oil dipstick. On most cars it has a bright yellow or orange handle, sometimes red. Pull it out slowly, wipe it completely clean with a white paper towel or a white rag. This first wipe is just for cleaning. You're resetting the measurement. Now reinsert the dipstick fully, push it all the way back in, wait 3 seconds, pull it out again slowly and hold it flat, level with the ground. Don't tilt it. Look at the oil level first. There are 2 marks on the dipstick, a minimum and a maximum. Your oil should be between those 2 marks. If it's at or below the minimum line, your engine has been running low. That alone can accelerate wear by 30 to 40%. You may have already lost some protection without knowing it. But here's the part that most people completely skip, and it's the most important part of this entire check. Look at the color of the oil on the dipstick. Fresh, healthy oil is amber, translucent. You should be able to see light through it slightly. Imagine holding a piece of amber glass up to sunlight, that warm golden orange tone. That's what healthy oil looks like. Now look at your oil. If it's light brown and still slightly translucent, you're in good shape. Keep an eye on it, but you're not in crisis. If it's dark brown, approaching black, that oil is degraded. The additive package is depleted. It is no longer protecting your engine the way it should. Change it within the next 500 miles. Don't push it. If it's completely black and thick and like used motor oil left in a pan for a week, that oil may have already caused some wear. Change it immediately, today, before another long drive. Now here's the second test, the one nobody talks about, the one that tells you something even more important than color. Take a drop, just 1 drop, of oil from the dipstick and press it between your thumb and index finger. Rub slowly. What do you feel? Healthy oil feels slick, almost silky, like it wants to slide between your fingers without any resistance at all. That slickness is the additive package still working, the anti-wear chemistry still active. If the oil feels gritty, if you can feel tiny particles, those are metallic contaminants, engine wear particles suspended in the oil. That means metal-on-metal contact has already been occurring inside your engine. You need an oil change, and you should have a mechanic check for the source of that wear. If the oil feels thick and sticky, like it's clinging instead of sliding, the viscosity modifiers have broken down. The oil has thickened beyond its designed range. It is no longer flowing quickly enough to reach critical engine components during cold startups. Every cold start you do with oil in that condition is a moment of nearly unlubricated metal contact. Hundreds of them over months and miles add up to thousands of dollars in premature wear. Now, the cheap solution that makes this permanent. Here it is. This is what the oil change industry cannot sell you because it costs almost nothing. A white paper towel. That's it. Cut a strip, about 1 inch wide. Drop 1 drop of oil from your dipstick onto the center of that strip. Set it flat on a clean surface and wait 15 minutes. This is called a blot test. Mechanics used it for decades before electronic diagnostic tools existed. Watch what happens. The oil will spread outward from the center drop. Healthy oil spreads in an even circle. You'll see a clear center spot with a smooth, gradually lightening ring around it. If you hold it up to light, you can almost see through the outer ring. That means the oil's detergents are still working. The oil is still doing its job. If the oil barely spreads, if it sits in a tight, dark blob and refuses to migrate outward through the paper fibers, that oil is gone. The detergents are exhausted. The viscosity is wrong. That engine is running on liquid that has lost its chemistry. $2 in paper towels, 60 seconds of your time, and you will know, with certainty, whether your engine needs help right now. This is the information that makes a $10,000 engine repair optional instead of inevitable. Now let me show you the math that the auto industry hopes you never calculate. The average engine repair in the United States, we're talking a seized engine, thrown rod, or spun bearing, costs between $4,000 and $11,000. The average oil change costs between $40 and $80. Recommended interval, roughly every 5,000 miles for conventional oil, up to 10,000 for full synthetic. Over 100,000 miles, you're looking at maybe 8 to 15 oil changes, let's say $600 total in oil changes, done on time, done right, versus $4,000 to $11,000 in catastrophic repair, or the cost of a replacement vehicle. The choice is so obvious it's almost offensive, and yet millions of Americans blow their engines every year. Because nobody taught them this, because the warning light lied to them, because the dealership told them to just bring it in when something feels wrong. Something being wrong inside your engine means the damage is already done. You now know what 99% of drivers don't. You know how to check your oil the right way. You know what color means what. You know the touch test. You know the blot test. You know exactly what is happening at the molecular level inside your engine. And you know how to stop the slow destruction before it costs you everything. The auto repair industry generates over $60 billion every year in the United States. A measurable percentage of that is built on simple neglect, on people who didn't know how to do a 60-second check, on engines that died slowly, invisibly, while their owners trusted a dashboard light that was never designed to actually protect them. You cannot patent knowledge. You cannot charge a markup on a paper towel. You cannot build a service industry on information this simple. So they made sure the information stayed buried, stayed out of schools, stayed off the basic driver education curriculum, stayed somewhere complicated and technical, somewhere that made you feel like you needed a professional just to understand it. You didn't need a professional. You needed 60 seconds and the truth. And now you have both. Share this video right now. Don't scroll past this. Text it to someone who owns a car. Post it. Drop it in a group chat. Because somewhere in your circle, someone is driving toward a $10,000 repair that this video would have stopped cold. Every share keeps alive what the industry tried to erase. This knowledge belongs to people, not to corporations, not to service departments, not to the business model that profits when your engine fails. Subscribe, hit the bell, tell one person. The next secret opens soon.